Hey guys, how you going? Today we're going to be doing our third tutorial for processing, and we're going to be looking at some more functions like the if function or the while function, as well as some keyboard functions that we're going to be able to control our character with from the last video. So basically we'll start off with the keyboards. So with keyboard button presses, you'll have to do a void loop right here, and the draw loop is just gonna loop. The setup loop runs once at the start, and then void key press right here, key pressed. Basically that is only going to run every time somebody presses a key, as well as I'll copy that and go key released. So when you press down on a key, the key pressed, everything inside the key pressed void will run, and when you release the key, everything in the key released void will run. So we can just do if key equals, we'll do W, and I have to remember equals is always 2, we'll get to that. So inside the void key pressed we'll have if key equals W, and make sure that that's gonna be your whole entire equation right there for if, and you have to have your brackets as well. So basically it's just saying if the key that's been pressed is W, then run whatever's inside this loop. So you just have to put something like, we'll just do print W is pressed. And then we'll copy all that because we can use pretty much the same thing here, is released. So now we have what when the key is released, if the key that is released is W, then it will say W is released. Now it's important to make sure that you have a double equal sign for the equals, because pretty much if you only have one, then it won't work, because you can have like the something like that right there, and that's just basically the reverse. So saying if it doesn't equal, and then we can have something like that, but we'll get to that later because that's pretty much used with numbers. And we'll go to here. Let's just actually run that right now. So if I just press the W key, you'll see it starts generating code down the bottom. And you'll see pressed, 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 pressed all in a row, because while I'm holding down the W key, it's registering that the key is still held down, so it's just going to loop through that. And then when I release it, it's just going to say released once and pretty much finish that off. Alright, so we're going to start off by making an integer. Well, this is going to be variables. So we're going to go int x equals, and we'll set that to 10. No, we'll go 0, just to keep it simple. Now basically this is saying that if I put a letter somewhere, then it's gonna show up. It's basically saying x is now 0. So if I put an x anywhere, if I replace that 10 with an x, it's now going to be 0 instead of 10, because x equals 0. And we're going to be able to use that because we're going to be able to change x to be a different number when you press the W key. So you can do something like right here, x equals x plus 1, and that's a simple version of just saying x is going to be added. You're going to add one digit to x every time that's looped. Or you can just go x plus equals 1, and that's just going to add 1 to x. That's also works for minus, but we'll do plus for now. And we'll go minus down here. Minus equals. So when we press W, x is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 every time it loops, adding 1, and then we're going to go minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4 every time that runs. Then we'll go over here, and this is going to be, these are the x variables for all of our rectangles and our eyes, our eyes and our body here. So we can actually just staying inside this comma and bracket here, we go 150 plus x. So when the program first starts, it's going to just say, okay, it's still 150 because x is 0, so it's just plus 0 basically. And then when you press W, it will be plus 1, plus 2, so you'll see that it will actually start to move forwards. And then we can move it backwards. Now you'll notice how it actually shows up and the character glitches across the screen, I guess you could say. And that is because the background here will now have to put into draw. Or to keep it simple, we'll just go clear. Oh, we'll put background in there. Probably we'll fix that. So because we were only doing the setup script once, and then we actually looped through the draw, it was just drawing the blue background at the very back once, and then it would continuously draw the character on top of itself over and over without drawing the background underneath every time. So now that we have background in the draw loop, so it's not just running once at the start, you'll see that the character will now move forwards. And then if I press release, then it'll move backwards. So we'll change that to S. So now when we press the S key, the character goes backwards. We press the W key, the character goes forwards. Just like that there. And you can change that to something like 10. So it'll go 10, 20, 30, 40 every time it loops. And that'll just make it a lot quicker for the character to move. We'll get into more streamlined key pressing later on, because you would do something like make an integer that's called W, and when the key is pressed, the integer is set to 1, and then in the draw loop it'll say if W equals 1, the character will move forwards, and that's how you're going to do smooth stuff, but we'll look into that later. For now, we'll just stick to all this. So we will just set that back to 1. Alright, now we'll do that for Y as well. Int Y equals 0. And so these are all the Y axes for our objects, so we can just go plus Y. And this is going to be the same process with our X over here. So we can just copy this right here, put it underneath, and now if the key equals A, we'll actually make that, we'll use WASD and make the character move according to all that. So if key equals W, that's of course up, so we'll switch that to Y. And as you can see, make sure that's a minus. And that will start to go up. Alright, and then we just copy that right there. Those two. And paste them below. WASD. Now since we have all WASDs up above, we won't actually be needing this, just because we don't need to tell the program that anything's happened when the key's been released, because this loop right here will automatically stop when the key is released. So we don't have to worry about that for now. Alright, so we will just write all those up, and S is Y because it's up and down. And that should be the right, which is switch D or S to plus. So now pressing the W key will make him go up, S key make him go down, A key is left, and D key is right. Alright, so that's going to be pretty much it for today. In our next video, I might be doing probably pictures. We can implement some video, pictures, sound. We'll learn how to use the library tool to add in things like that. But for now, I'll catch you guys later.